G'day guys, and welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are talking about the Smith Machine Lunge. It's a fantastic exercise to really build up our lunge capacity and even out potentially some instabilities that we have in the hips in order to then progress and do other barbell lunges, dumbbell lunges, bodyweight lunges and all the rest of that stuff. For those who haven't watched the barbell lunge especially, I suggest you go across and you make sure that you watch that. It's really important that we have the utmost control, but because of the nature of this beast and the fact that it runs on the one line, it's a really good starting point for us to learn how to lunge. Okay, so when we lunge, what we want to create are 3 points that are directly in line at all times. Now, old man knees here is going to come into it. Whenever we are doing any lunges, whether it be dumbbell or a barbell or a Smith machine, we want to end up in this position at the bottom. Obviously, our toe is going to be up a little higher or a little bit more flexed, but we are looking to create shoulder, hip, and knee alignment all in one straight line. Okay, so we want to work on this axis, and this is the reason why it's a really, really good exercise to start with when it comes to lunge, because of the fact that it will make you work in a nice straight line and a nice straight axis. Where we can get ourselves into some strife when it comes to barbells and dumbbells is because there's a lot more moving components to it, in the fact that we have to stand up and then take a step forward and then you know, switch our legs and all the rest of that stuff. Whereas we're here, we're probably getting more likely to pump out 10 and then move on to the other leg. Also, we learn from the bottom up, especially with the lunges. That's how I teach it. We'll start from the bottom, work our way up, make sure that all the execution's really well done when it comes to the lift, and then we can move on to controlling our body weight. There's a few things that we need to be aware of when it comes to lunges. Number one is that a lunge is all about our hip complex, and it dives into our adductors, very much an adductor exercise. Also, then it starts to get into our quads and our hamstrings. Now, why I put particular emphasis on the fact that it's very much a hip complex exercise in the adductors is because a lot of people look for their quads when they do this exercise, so they start to get into this position here and they reach right forward. Now, two things occur in this. One, they lose their body, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because it just means that we're just, you know, well, it is, because we're using back extenders to get the load back up. Okay, so if I am in this position here and the barbell's on my back, I have to use a back extender to then drive force to stand back up. Okay, now that's not the worst thing in the world, but remember, whenever we're doing any strength exercise or any hypertrophy exercise, we want to keep the tension on the working muscle at all times. So that's why it's super important to keep your nice straight line. Okay, so knowing this, leaning forward and driving out of the quad and looking for the quad can lead you into technique issues. So we want to be making sure that we're feeling this through our glute and our glute adductor and hamstring complex. Also, by pushing this knee a little bit too far forward, what we can do is we can overload this knee joint. Now, for someone who's got good range and good flexibility through their knees, fantastic. For those who don't, you're likely to experience some pain through the kneecap. Nothing too. When we are in this position, or better yet, so this more so applies for those who are doing steps, but it's best to know this now, and that if I take a step forward and start pushing forward, you can see not only does my front knee go over the back, but also create a stretch to this point. Now, obviously, we've lost our 3 points, so my knee's well behind my hip and my shoulder, but we lose our stability through our hips because we're creating a stretch through through our hip flexors. And essentially, we're not looking to stretch out our muscles, although it's a very good hip flexor stretch, that stretch. We are not looking to stretch out our muscles. We're looking to create as much stability as possible, hence why we want those 3 points in a line. Okay, so knowing this, how do we want to start? Well, we're obviously going to start with the barbell up on the Smith machine up on our back. Okay, we know that the finish point is going to be in a nice straight line, so we're going to bring this leading foot slightly back, and our dropping leg behind. We're looking to have this bar, if this bar was to cut us in half, or straight down the middle, it would end up right in the middle of our two legs. So it'd cut our legs directly in half. So we're trying to travel on that straight axis. Okay, so from this position here, we're going to come down, load up this front leg, drive back up. Okay, so it's very much this front leg's doing the work. With our hands, we're going to be pulling our shoulder blades back and down, body nice and tight, knuckles to the sky. Big deep breath in, down, drive. 1, down, drive. 2. Just like that. Okay, keep that knee nice and high, shins nice and tall, and most of that load is going to be driving through this front leg. You may experience some load shift in the back. That's fine, but understand that we are looking to, all we want to make sure that we're ticking off is that these 3 points are always in a line on the back leg. And that there, team, is how you want to go about doing your Smith Machine lunges. Make sure you keep your 3 points in, make sure that knee isn't traveling too far forward, and make sure you keep your body up nice and tall. Set your back up as you would for any squat pattern, so you're going to pull your shoulder blades back and down, knuckles to the sky. Keep yourself nice and rigid, nice and tall, and drive through those muscles, and don't let them off. All right, team, that there is how you want to go about doing your Smith Machine lunges.